What's going on, everyone? This is the weekly update where I give you guys updates on this channel, my businesses, dance, whatever it is in terms of growth on the things I'm working on. So let's get right into it. I'm traveling right now, so I'm not exactly working on some of the things at the moment. I'm traveling to see family for Father's Day weekend. So all you fathers and whatnot, or those of you guys who still have their dads, hope you guys are having a great weekend. If you have a relationship with them or not, it's your life. But I'm out traveling and seeing family right now. So in regards to Emeroy TV and Temper Tantrum, in terms of the Patreon exclusives for World Street Woman Fighter, I know we had said we're going to try to keep up with it. That immediately just did not work out because we originally tried to schedule it on the days it came out, which is on Tuesdays, which is a interesting, I'd say, time slot. And Tuesday nights usually have been the best spot for those who can come. But unfortunately, we've been using it for the past 2 weeks to get ready for Ochacha's rehearsal, which is another child company of Temper Tantrums, and they're getting ready for a show for this weekend, which I'll share in a bit. But we just haven't been able to because we've had to put in extra rehearsals because right as soon as the group was formed, they already had a gig lined up, which is great. Which is I believe it's a anime convention. I know they're able to get this event quickly. They just had to put together a whole show and experience ready. So that means not just having shows, but also having, I think, the band ready, but also having your tablers ready. So which is a whole big thing that we had to have a quick turnaround within a month. And then the weekend rehearsals weren't enough, so we had to do Tuesday, Thursday rehearsals as well. So we're going to do our best to try to catch up with that. I was hoping that we would, but it just, things like this, rehearsals, events, just like that often comes up that we prioritize. That's why we try to do these type of shows in a batch reaction style format of like we just film all of it as much as we can in one day versus trying to keep it weekly, because then it kind of potentially gets interrupted by all these other things that are more in line with what we're trying to do with our own careers and our own vision. So but we're going to try to get back to it because it's fun to be a part of the conversation, but sometimes we can't keep up with the conversation because there's other things. So I think the main thing to share with that is when there's two important projects, I think the most important ones that in terms of picking what's more important is what is the most aligned with your value, aligned with your vision, which is whatever that you want to achieve, and then let that kind of dictate the actions, because it's very easy to see what you can get out of it right away. But if you act in a way that's more aligned with what's important to you, I think that speaks more in volume. And I think at the end of the day, you'll be much more satisfied and happier with yourself. Personally, for me, trying to decide between doing the reactions and doing, I think it was kind of a given. Ultimately, is like their goal is to get on stage, to work with artists, do music videos, all those things. So if that opportunity comes up, that's the first thing we're doing. Reactions are something that we can do to help build our brand awareness, to help share our dance knowledge with you guys in some of the downtime that we have when we're not doing shows or rehearsals or videos, anything of the sort. So this was kind of like a no-brainer decision to get ready for that, because also the deadline was much faster versus trying to get these reactions out. There's no exact hard deadline or an audience that's waiting. So we kind of let that be on the back burner, but not so far that we forget about it. So in regards to Temper Tantrum, going on as usual. So we just finished the second week of training. I had a struggle bus of training that day. Mentally, I wasn't there because it was a very, 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 very busy weekend, which, I'll get into it a little later. But the main big news about that was we're having mid-year auditions in July 27th. So those of you guys who happen to be in the LA area and want to dance with us, come through. Minimum age is 21. We're adults here. We're not trying to babysit, and of at least 2 to 3 years of dancing. So this is interesting because this is the first time we've ever done any sort of mid-year auditions. I usually try to have a fairly large cast, relatively large cast, because I anticipate things to happen, such as, you know, someone's pregnant, someone's going to be a parent, someone has a regular day job, what do you call it, shift in responsibilities, someone gets a bigger opportunity outside of a temper tantrum. So I anticipate some sort of loss of like people, like just lifing and people having to leave. And I think we, on average, maybe 1 or 2, at max 3 people have to leave, at worst because of injuries. I would like to keep that same number, 22 or 23 members currently on the team, and I'll just add a couple more. I much rather personally would not have had to do the mid-years, but with some of the things that I want us to do this year, I would like to make sure that there is, in a sense, buffer in case people are unavailable on certain dates, or if we get split onto 2 different projects that happen to be on the same day. I think that there have been instances of that where one group is working with another, is doing a rehearsal here, and another group is doing a performance here. It just works out in that way. It would suck if it was just 5 of us and and there's 2 opportunities. This allows us to have a little bit more flexibility in terms of who can do what. So in terms of Emeroy TV, still on homeostasis. Like, I haven't really touched much on any of the reaction videos or any of the tutorials for the past 2 weeks. Gonna keep it at that because which leads to the next thing for Vision Paradox. It's taken a lot longer than expected in terms of getting the footage organized for the security client that we worked with. There's a lot of footage you have to sift through, a lot of interactions and whatnot. I want to make sure that all of it's organized before we start editing. And I think that's the most time-consuming part of the editing, is just organizing the footage, reviewing what's good, syncing the audio if you have a separate source, and then after that finding the narrative, like to piece it all together so it's not just watching a series of clips. What we're going to be doing with that, I think I might have shared in the previous video, but one of the things we want to do is, one, we get both their perspectives in terms of like, because there's 2 people that we filmed that day, get both their perspectives on that day, the importance of security, and and dealing with personalities and the patience or impatience of other people, especially for an event like that they were covering. Yeah, and I think that would just help tie up the whole story with all the different clips that we have. When I come back in LA, I'm going to be doing another series of filming with them in regards to additional content that we need for their channel, for their socials. There's a couple formats that I want us to experiment with, and just simply we weren't able to film the past 2 or 3 months because they're either traveling and they're working with a client that were dealing with bomb threats. So that one I kind of wish I could have filmed, because it would have shown like, here's a real stress situation, but I also know the sensitivity of like that situation. So it's being respectful, but also there's the part of me like, I really want to show how good you guys are. And at the end of the day, it would have been nice to capture them in that situation to showcase how they deal with these very real threats. But at the end of the day, it's better to err on the side of empathy and sensitivity, because especially since that's a very real situation, and it's, part of me wants to showcase how good they are in these situations, but it's also like being sensitive and being understanding as to keeping people's privacy. The main thing is knowing when to pause on one project and then focus on another. I think one thing that I've been really doing that has helped me with my own sanity, because everyone has their own version of productivity, or what they think productivity is, especially on YouTube. But for me, what's been working has been, the minute I wake up, I get straight to work for 4 hours on one particular project, and then I work out, eat, and then the next 4 hours I work on another project. And that's usually worked because I get to go deep dive into a particular project for more than an hour, and I get to really focus on it. And I usually focus on 1 or 2 projects per week. So the project 1 is for that whole week. Project 2 is for that whole week. It's just 2 different shifts of what I'm working on. And sometimes it doesn't always happen. And sometimes it doesn't always happen. Like sometimes I get hella messages in the morning and I have to manage a whole bunch of other things that require my immediate attention. Sometimes it happens in the afternoon and then I have to forego on the thing that I'm working on to manage that. For the most part, it's like, it takes care of itself. I have a pretty solid team to take care of it, but if it's really needed that I need to do that, then I have to do what I got to do. But yeah, in terms of pausing, I do my best to set it up that if I left it alone for a while, it would still be fine, which is why I'm considering Emeroy TV, like in terms of the production end, to be on homeostasis, because I edited enough tutorials, shorts, and reactions to last me for a few months while I work on the other things that require building up or immediate attention, such as client work or temper tantrum. Because if I'm trying to, again, if I have to try to put out a video every day for Emeroy TV with reactions, I would probably lose my mind because I'm trying to meet that deadline and someone else's deadline. That's why I have these steady focuses for each week, so that way I have depth to work with it instead of like me trying to move an inch everywhere. I'm hoping to maybe move at least 6 inches everywhere in terms of rather than little to no progress at all. And yes, that also means when I'm working on 1 or 2 different projects for that focused week, the other things also take a pause. And I do my best to either leave it at a space where it's okay for homeostasis, or I just accept that it's not progressing in the way that I want it to, in order to make progress on this thing that requires my attention. In terms of the dance stuff, did not get booked for the audition I did last week, which I think what they were hinting at was Disneyland. And it's okay. I was expecting it because a lot of the guys, again, if you didn't watch last week's video, a lot of the guys that were at least half a head taller than me or a head taller than me, a lot of them at least being 5'9", I know I had the skill and I had the energy. I don't think I had the look that they were going for, which happens with a good chunk of gigs. They will say it's a typecast, that there's a look they're going for. It's never really against your skill or who you are as a person, but there's just a vision that they want. Because what I was told at that audition is that they would let people know probably by the end of the day, or like by 8:00 p.m. the latest, because the following day there was a callback and they were gonna do coupling or groups to see how they look together. And didn't get it. It's okay. And I think the less you're attached to the certain outcome, the more you just enjoy the process of doing it. Had this been 2006, 7, 8, man, my self-esteem and self-doubt would have shot up through the roof. Now I don't give a fuck if I get it or not. I would love to get more work as a dancer, because honestly, just being the talent is way easier in my opinion rather than doing production. But there's only so many gigs and whatnot. So anyways, I just put myself out there and keep going. In terms of another opportunity that did pop up was there's a potential flash mob performance happening in July. Didn't have to do audition or anything. I just submitted my reel and my resume and my measurements. Just waiting to hear back if I get that or not. We'll see. Fingers crossed. It's happening at Paramount Studios. Not sure what it is, but I'm always down to dance and get paid. So in terms of other things, I recently updated my training regimen. I have a specific training regimen that I've been doing. And I've been doing it for like probably 3 to 6 months now. It feels like that. So I'm switching it up. Definitely much more challenging. I'm learning a lot more in terms of not just the strength and the aesthetics, but more of the fascial connection and how the body works as a whole. Something I think I may have been doing before learning all this in terms of training. I just never knew what it was. So reintegrating a lot more fascial training and I guess some people would say holistic training, combining that with strength training, and still trying to fit dancing right after all that as well. So There's definitely been some exercises that I've never been introduced to. One of the new ones that I did today were called the depth jump, which is like you go from a small box or small platform, drop down, and immediately jump onto a higher box, which is a lot of fun. And I'm hoping that helps me with feeling more confident doing my back tucks on concrete. Because right now I only feel comfortable doing it on mats. I feel the extra air in my back tucks because I've been doing a lot more of that type of training. This is just a new exercise that I've never done before. So, anyways, I digress. I guess the takeaway from that aspect of life, the dancer side, is don't be attached to the end goal. Because if you're too attached to the end goal, then I guess you lose focus on what's happening in front of you, and then you might end up going about a process that you're not happy with, or you might end up sacrificing things about yourself or others that you're not happy with. Because if you put the end goal on the pedestal, then if you don't get that end goal, then it might destroy you. It feels super cliche to say this, is enjoy the process. If the end goal is the end goal is to do better in your effort in the practice. I mean, you might not always have the best practice, but you can sure as hell give the best effort you can in practice, regardless if you are tired or you have 100% energy, because that's all you can give. You don't have control if you book the audition, or if you make the competitive team, or if you get the job. But if you do the work beforehand, you ain't got to get ready because you're already ready. I think the other one too is like, just because you don't get the opportunity, they might have just said no for you for another opportunity that might land on your lap. But that's just a nice optimistic way of seeing about it. Because if you keep your doors open, more opportunities will come. You just didn't get this one. It has nothing to do with you. It's part of the journey. All right, so vision paradox. I think I already shared with that security, with the security company and all the stuff that we're going to be doing when we come back. Again, working with a lot of footage. I'm still trying to get better at trying to organize large amounts of footage efficiently. Right now, we just plop it into a hard drive. Depending camera 1, camera 2, and audio, keep those in separate folders, and then dump it into an SSD and then work. I wish there was something easier. I know there's a couple of AI tools out there that help with organization, but I wish there was something that can like do the part where it reviews the footage for you and it finds the selects. Like, oh look, this shot had a nice medium shot of this person talking here, or this person said something really meaningful to this other person here. That would just make it a lot easier. Though I think that also takes away from the potential part in the edit, which is discovering what you made, which helps build the connections in the creative part. So the boring, redundant part, I think, might also be essential in the creative part, because you're in the process of discovering and just sifting and searching for the moments that you're looking for. I think the takeaway from this project as well is that, and it's a constant reminder, which is like however long you think a project is going to be, usually will take about, at max, maybe at minimum, 3 times longer than you think. Because I was very optimistic coming into this week that we'd have it done by yesterday, and it is not. It is barely, it's like friggin' 25%. Nah, maybe 20%. Maybe 20%. It's still a lot though. 20% I think is very, very optimistic and very forgiving. But yeah, large projects, like if you have a big project, if you have a big vision, and you have a big goal, and you say, I want to get this within 90 days, triple that. It'll be a lot longer. You probably can make some really, really, really good progress in 90 days, and kudos to you if you hit the goal in 90 days. But life is life. Things happen. There's so much unpredictable variables that show up. It just makes sense to have that little bit of a buffer, because then you're not putting too much value or stock at the date. You just, at that point, you just acknowledge that this is going to be a while. This is a marathon, and then you just focus on the process and just show up and do the work. So Last thing is Ochacha, which I'm going to continue reintroducing them. Ochacha is a maid and butler cafe, which is a child subsidiary company of Temper Tantrum. So it's still in the performance dance space, but not exactly the same in terms of our dance entertainment where we're doing regular dance medleys or music videos. This one's specifically towards, correct me if I'm wrong, Noelle or anyone from Ochacha watching, specifically towards anime culture, or I think the maid and butler culture from Japan. Again, the main reason I'm really invested in working with this company is because I think it's another form of entertainment, another form of dance that our dancers can be involved with if they want. And I personally think in the world of that we're really leading into, which is AI, I think in-person experiences like this are going to be much more valuable. So which is one of the reasons I think that one of the reasons why I got involved with this, though I'm not the one heading or choreographing anything, I'm definitely one of the people helping on the business operations. So tomorrow is their first big event at Taste of Japan. I unfortunately will not be there because I'm here. Father's Day, dad duties. Some of the people from Vision Paradox will be there to capture some of the marketing material, to get the performances, get proof of concept, get things rolling in terms of the social media and yeah, and it's going to be nice. It's going to be their first official big performance, and it's going to be nice to showcase that, and it's going to be nice to showcase what they've been working on, because as far as I know, I don't know much in terms of the maid and butler cafe culture, especially in SoCal, but as far as I know, from what some have seen, the dancing the level of dancing that they're putting in there is really, I'd say really good. I'd say it's pretty good as well, considering how much they had to learn in a short amount of time, and not everyone there is pursuing dance in a professional level. So I think it's pretty good for what it is, and I think overall it's entertaining. Even if like, I've told this to them too, like to all the dancers, the choreography is entertaining even if I put a bag on your head, because it's very cute. It has a lot of personality. The main thing to sell it is your face, is your personality, because moves are cool, but also at the end of the day we connect with the face. So the choreography is doing a good amount of the work already. Just let your face say it as well. Have fun. So yeah, I think this is one of those things that I am, as much as I'd like to be there, there's a part of me that's trying to balance being a dad, and then also running these businesses. I'm glad that this is in great hands. I don't have to be there. There's people that are going to take care of it. I know it's going to be a good show. I know there's going to be people capturing the content that we need for the marketing. So I feel pretty relaxed about it. I'd say the main thing, I guess the main takeaway there is maybe balance, or maybe knowing when you have to be there versus knowing when you don't have to be. And I think that comes back to having a good team around you. If you don't trust the team that you're working with, when you step away, then you probably don't have a good team. If you feel like you have to constantly pick up the slack, you probably don't have a good team. If you're resentful with the people you're around, you probably don't have a good team. So it comes back down to having a good team, being able to have the hard conversations, being upfront, honest, give honest feedback, and then not taking that personally and being able to grow from that, having the dialogue that's needed. Because at the end of the day, if it's important to you, your ego should not matter. Ultimately, I think at the end of the day, it's just surrounding yourself with good people. But it's not just, I shared it in the previous video, it's not just the vibes. Anyone can say things to make you feel good, but not execute. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I know I have. The people are like, yeah, I got you, and they don't fucking do shit. So vibes do not equal good work ethic. They do not mean that they're trustworthy. That just means they have good charisma. Ultimately, what sticks out is their word, their body of work, maybe even their reputation. And if you're with whether it's building a business in a dance team or you're a coworker, you're in the trenches with people, you're trying to build something. So ultimately you've got to work together, and working together also involves communicating, and communicating means being honest. That doesn't mean being an asshole, but you have to be honest to the point, to find a way to have a middle ground to work together to move forward. If you're not able to do that, you're going to be, what is the word? I'd say stuck, for lack of a better word, but it's because then there's no progress. There's too much ego. If the vision is the main thing, if that helps dictate the actions, then maybe ego potentially, because humans are humans, maybe ego, gets out the door, or maybe is on pause for the moment. But yeah, I think if you're more, because then it goes back into, are you committed to the vision, or are you committed to your ego? Because I personally think I have a hard time trusting people. Like, there's people that have said, I want to help, and I have the utmost skepticism of what they can really do. Like, oh yeah, I do this, this, and this. Can you? Like, yeah, we haven't worked together. I don't know if I can. I don't know if you really can. And then I probably start giving a lot more trust, maybe 1 or 2 projects in, because ultimately is like, how well do we work with each other when it's good, and even more so when it's stressful, and how well do you adjust? How well do you give me feedback? So that kind of working relationship, it doesn't come immediately and easy for me. For me, how I know I feel like I've gotten a good team is we've been through the trenches, we've worked with each other for a long time. I'm not going to say we know each other the ins and outs, but we know each other's like tendencies to a point, and we know we have each other's back, because we've been in it for a while now. And how that built was through working on a couple projects together and seeing it do well, and some not so well, but still being able to support each other. How others can do that, I don't know. The first thing that off the top of my head is probably do a small test run with them, like maybe work on them on a small project, or this is something that was actually inspired by Behind the Diary from Stephen Bartlett, which is a culture fit survey, and I'm actually going to be experimenting with that for Temper Tantrum, which is like these 15 different scenarios for us specifically, that are very real scenarios that have happened, and see how they fit in terms of the culture. And we'll see, because there's no right or wrong answers for it. We'll just see, like, it's more so like what actions are most aligned with what we're looking for in the team. And we stress test it, so it's not just maximal self-sacrifice for the team, but it's more so maximal responsibility. Like, what is the responsible answer for this, so that it's not just sacrificing yourself for the team, but personal boundaries, which is something that I think was really, really good feedback, because the first draft of this survey was like fuck your commitments, you said this, and then it's also like at the end of the day it was pretty much what I said, like, fuck what your life, you're dedicated to the team, which is not what I want, because I have a life too, even though I put a lot of hours into this. But I mean, to pull from that, maybe you can use, like, in a scenario, hypotheticals. Like, if you're trying to get to know someone, throw some hypotheticals at them and see how they react, see what they respond. And some people might just be really good at answering and have a lot of charisma and make you feel safe, and they know to say the right things. And then with that, I'd say the main thing after that is stress test it. See what you guys can do on a small project. Something that's low barrier of entry and low risk, that doesn't put you in danger. But yeah, this whole section way off more than expected, but I really wanted to share the whole aspect of building a team, being in the trenches, how it was for me building trust, because there are some aspects that I feel like I've grown a lot this year in terms of delegating and trusting other people, but there's still other aspects that I would like to be able to delegate more. But it's more so like one, either availability, or two, I just don't know if I can trust certain people yet on these certain tasks. But yeah, that's it. This is long. I appreciate you. If you're watching this still, I appreciate you. That's it. Have a great Father's Day weekend. For those of you guys who watch it, that's it. See you guys in the next video.